What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have another new bike review, and this one is under $3,000. This is the brand new Rawrr Mantis X, and at $2,999 and a 72-volt battery, it should be an awesome competitor to the Talaria XXX, which we love and we've done a lot of videos on in the past. So with that being said, let's get this unboxed, get it out on the road, get it out on the trail, and really put it to the test and see if it's worth $3 grand. All right, we got the hard part done. Here we go. Let's check this baby out. I have a feeling this thing is most of the way assembled too. There it is. I like this seat. That's nice. Well guys, here it is, the 72-volt Rawrr Mantis X. And the crazy thing about this bike, it's only $2,999. So with that, let's talk about what specs this bad boy has to offer. First off, we do have a 72-volt 30 amp hour battery. It's on the smaller side, but this bike is also smaller and lighter. So we'll see how that does later in the video when we get out and ride it and see how that range does. We do have 6.5 kilowatts of power, which is the exact same as a Talaria XXX. So I think these are going to be very good competition towards each other. Later in the video, we will go grab a Talaria XXX so we can do some drag races and compare the bikes. To continue on with the specs, we have 19-inch wheels front and back. Actually, this bike has a 19-inch front and a 17-inch rear wheel, which I love because that helps the handling of the bike, having a slightly smaller rear tire, and we do have a slightly larger, higher air volume rear tire with a lot of traction on it. I think this is a great choice on Rawrr. Back to the spec. We do have a lot of nice things on this bike, to be honest. These pegs are some of the better stock pegs that I've seen. They got decent amount of grip. We do have KKE suspension front and back, and it is set up very soft, which I think a lot of the smaller riders will like. It does have adjustability there, and the rear shock has a lot of rebound to it. It's very springy feeling, but you can also stiffen it up and slow the rebound down. But a lot of people like that springy feel, and in my opinion, it feels nice. I've ridden it around the neighborhood a little bit, and we'll get out and test it more later in the video. So here we have this big main center display that'll fire up. You've got ready here because you have a kill switch. So if you kill that, you got your battery percentage, your miles per hour, eco, and then you also have your mode button here. You can do sport and race. I love that there's 3 different modes. I'm excited to go try those. Here is our trip. So we're at 0 miles. This is our headlight toggle on and off. We have a horn, which is very loud. It always scares you when you do it. And the one super cool thing is we do have a direct mount stem, and it comes with these riser blocks if you want to rise up your handlebars. It also has a 2-inch rise handlebar from the factory, which a lot of brands don't do, but I love that they added that touch. Here we have our charge port, and then you can also pop the seat open to remove the battery, and you can charge the battery on the battery or in the bike. So if you pop that out, nice little system there. You can unplug this and your battery slides right out. You have a battery percentage indicator on there, show if it's full, and here's your charge port if you have your battery out of the bike. And let's move on over to some brakes. So these are very similar looking brake than we've seen on other bikes, so it should be comparable in performance. If we come check out these brake rotors, we've got 220 discs and caliper right there. That's great. Even on a bike of only $3,000, they're doing those 220 rotors, which is a big deal. This full-size fender looks to be a very beefy and stout frame. This is a very similar design to the previous Mantis models, but this is significantly smaller and lighter. I know that they shaved a ton of weight on this build, which is going to be super noticeable when we ride it. As you'll notice too, we do have the chain on the opposite side compared to most e-bikes. So we got brake right here. Again, this is actually looks to be a 200 mil rotor in the rear. Yep, 203 in the rear, so a little bit smaller, but that is a beefy rotor. That's nice to see. We do have very grippy tires, surprisingly. These are more grippy than what comes on 99% of the other e-motos. We do have a sort of gearbox reduction coming straight out of the motor, which is nice, keeps it super simple. Back to the back sprocket. All right, it's time to get out and ride it. But if you guys are enjoying this video, please hit that subscribe button. You guys have no idea how big of a difference it makes to us as a channel when you guys subscribe if you like the videos. Let's get out and ride this baby. We are jumping straight into a top speed run. I got my GPS cycling computer in my pocket. Here we go. There's 40, 45, there's 50, 50, keep it going. All right, we'll call that good. All right, at the end there, we were just on a real slight decline. Well, let's pull out the GPS and see what we did. GPS, and we'll compare it to the speedometer here that we hit 50. Finished the top speed test and it went really well. We hit 50.3 miles per hour right there at the bottom. That's our max speed. And the awesome part too is that our speedometer was super accurate. It was within like 1 mile an hour of the GPS, which is great. A lot of these e-motos are not locked in compared to a GPS. And the previous Rawrr models we tested were not either. So I'm glad they addressed that. So far this bike is impressing me a lot. 50 miles an hour at only $3,000 is also a great thing. Let's keep testing. Hey guys, we are back in the garage because I just learned something. Rawrr came out with an app for the Mantis X where we can change a bunch of settings. So that is super cool. I'm stoked on it and we're gonna show you guys how to do it. So here we go. We got the Rawrr app. You can search it up on the App Store. You'll find it super easy. We're gonna go over here and we're gonna do Bluetooth Connect. Make sure your bike is on. Here we got, it's this middle one, done in. Click that. It's gonna load the data and it's gonna scan the bike, figure out all the settings that it currently is running, and then we can go into changing them. Okay, 100%. So one thing that's super cool, you can enable or disable your brake sensors and your kickstand sensor. I love that. I already unplugged the brake sensors because I didn't know there was an app that I could just disable them. Now if we go on to the next page, you can go in Eco, Sport, or Race, and you can change the speed limit, the power, the torque, the initial throttle response, the regen braking, and your throttle curve. As you guys can see, it changes that graph. So I love that you can now customize all 3 drive modes and set them up exactly how you want the bike to feel. There's really no other bike that's coming with an app like this right out of the gate, especially for only $3,000. So kudos to Rawrr, good job you guys. We're gonna make sure Race is set up all the way and go keep riding this bad boy. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the video so far. If you are, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps out our channel and helps us get more opportunities to film cool videos just like this one. And if you guys haven't already, you gotta enter to win the brand new Talaria MX5 that we are giving away. It's not this bike, it'll be brand new in a box. And right now we're doing 25 times bonus entries. So go get entered because the giveaway ends in just a few days. October 31st, Halloween night. Back to the video. Now we wouldn't be doing a full review unless we compared this bike to its direct competitor, which is a Talaria XXX. If you guys recognize this bike, it's because it used to be ours. We sold it to our buddy Sheldon. He's had it for about the last year or so, put a lot of good miles on it. So this bike has a few upgrades on it, but nothing power-wise. So this bike is 6.5 kilowatts, costs about $150 more than this bike, which again is also 6 kilowatts. So we got to do a drag race. Okay guys, time for drag race number 1. Talaria XXX and Grant, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, we're dead even. Oh, he's pulling. He's pulling. Come on. Come on. Oh, that was real close. Oh. All right. So that was about 1 bike length. That's pretty dang close. We might have to do 1 more. Drag race number 2, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, here we are. Oh, he's pulling. He's pulling. All right. Okay, he got me by just a hair more than a bike length again. Very close. All right, you guys saw the results of those drag races. The Talaria XXX did win by about a bike length on both drag races. Now, in my opinion, that is super close because Grant weighs about 10 pounds less than I do. This bike was also at 100% state of charge, and this one was at about 80%. So with those factors, we couldn't do an exact perfect comparison drag race, but that is very, very close in my book because we did do quite a long drag race. We are doing probably 45, almost 50 miles an hour to top speed by the end of that run. So very impressive. It makes sense because both bikes are about 6.5 kilowatts and they weigh pretty much exactly the same at about 130 pounds. So with that comparison, I think it's time to move on to our trail ride and you guys can see how this bike performed out on the trail. But so far, I'm very impressed with it and it's making it a very tough decision in my mind, which bike I would pick if I had about $3,000 to spend. All right, it is time for a bit of a trail ride here on the new Mantis X. So far, I'm loving this thing. I have a feeling these tires are actually gonna grip pretty good. They are not bad tread-wise. Okay, the suspension is definitely soft. I'll have to stop in a minute and check, see where it's set up to, see how soft it is, and see if I can adjust the preload at all. For reference, I'm about 190 pounds. This bike is a little on the smaller size, but that makes it really fun and maneuverable. I'm in race mode right now. The throttle is got a lot of pep to it. Not bad. It's nimble, flickable, fun, and the rear shock is doing a lot better than I was expecting. With this bike having no rear suspension linkage, let me show you guys that. So as you can see, we got no rear suspension linkage. The shock is straight mounted to the swing arm, which traditionally gives you a lot less of a plush feeling when you ride. It doesn't have an actual like articulation. It can only move up so far and does limit the travel a little bit. But this is probably the best no linkage setup that I've felt on any bike. It does feel more plush than the Talaria XXX. So good job on that. Let's keep going. You can lean this bike really well. It kind of reminds me of that Serpent Throne that I rode the other day. That bike has quite a bit more power than this, so it did feel faster and it was a little bigger and heavier, but so far this thing is fun. Try out the brakes. Not bad. Not bad. They got a little squeak to them. Might need a little bit of a clean. I can definitely tell the fork is diving a lot under the heavy braking because it's set up so soft, but not bad. See, I am really enjoying riding this bike, and the previous Rawrr models that I tested, the 60 volt and 72 volt full-size Mantis bikes, I didn't really like or have near as much fun as I'm already having on this. So kudos to Rawrr. I think they did a vast improvement towards this bike in making it lighter, more nimble, more fun, and more importantly, a lot less expensive. And I don't even necessarily think this bike is any slower than those way more expensive previous Rawrr models. Obviously, like, you can tell here and there where they cut the price down. You know, things like this light switch, it's just pretty cheap. Like, the horn button is cheap, this is cheap. So, like, there's a few little things like that that you can notice why this bike is $3 grand and how they got it under that price point. However, they didn't skimp on very many things because we still have a direct mount stem here with a riser. We got a 2-inch riser bar. And so what I've noticed is I don't even really feel like the bike needs a higher bar setup, which I always feel like a bike needs. And I'm 6'3". So if I'm saying it doesn't need a rise, it probably doesn't. So I'm stoked on that. As winter is coming, you can tell the leaves are all brightly colored and they're even starting to die and fall off. It's October like 26th today, so Halloween's in like 5 days, and then it's gonna get real cold. Oh man, this bike is really fun. Nice job, Rawrr. Good work on this bike. You guys did a huge improvement towards the previous models, and I actually am having a good time riding it. I think this is worth the $3 grand. Easy. No question in my book. I will say, if you're a big, heavy guy, this might be a little too small and the suspension is gonna be a little too soft for you. Unless you're just cruising, you know, taking it a little more easy or riding the streets more, then it would still be totally fine. But if you're jumping, it's gonna be too soft. but I actually feel like I can push this bike pretty well. It's given me the confidence. I am using all of the power. I'm also just used to having a lot more, so that's kind of fair. We're doing 25 though. There's 30, 36. To be honest, I'm having a hard time picking whether I would rather have this or a Talaria XXX. We have owned on the channel 3 Talaria XXXs now, so I am a huge fan of the XXX. Kind of just keep going back to it because it's a really fun bike for a really good price, but so is this. And I'm not really finding anything negative to say about this bike. So good job, Rawrr. I think I can tell that the battery is rattling a little bit in the compartment. I think it's just bouncing up and down. Seat comes off so nice. This thing's super light. And here we are. So I believe we're just going like this. Yeah, that's definitely what's happening. So I think if I put a little piece of foam right on this ridge, it's meant to rub right on here. If we just mesh that down just a little bit, I think we're gonna get no rattle. And otherwise, I'm not really feeling any other rattles on the rest of the bike. And look at this traction. I'm feeling that. That's a nice tire. It's got a lot of tall side air volume too, and big knobs. I'm not paid to say this. I can say whatever I want about it, and I never lie on these reviews, you guys. I do hope you realize that when we don't like a bike, we say it and we get rid of it because we don't like to ride it. But this bike, I'm generally having a really good time on. This thing is super fun. I have no idea how good the headlight is. It looks to be the same as the previous Rawrr models, which wasn't great, but I will have to test it at night sometime. Oh, let's try this hill. Little hill climb. Come on, baby. Full throttle. Oh, wow. Holy cow. No way. No way. Oh, it's close. Well, it gets easier up there, but look at that. That is so steep. So something I'm feeling with this bike that I think a lot of people will understand is that oftentimes it's more fun to try and go fast and push a bike that doesn't have too much power than to try to push a bike that does have too much power. It's just more fun. So I'm not saying this bike is slow, but I am used to much faster upgraded bikes, you know, that have 3-4 times the power that this does. And while those bikes are really fun to ride fast, it's kind of terrifying because if you grab a little too much throttle, your back tire just spins out and you crash on a corner. Where this, you kind of you can just reach for full throttle whenever you want to. And yeah, it's fast. And yeah, you can still break the tire free, but you could just rip and you're not gonna die. A lot of race car drivers will tell you that they would much rather drive a slow car fast than a fast car the same speed as that slow car. It just feels more fun in a lot of ways. And that is kind of what I'm feeling here with this bike. So nice job, Rawrr. I think you guys knocked it out of the park on this one. I'm glad we finally were able to get one of these to test, because in all reality, I did not think it was gonna be this good. Thank you to Rawrr, and let's jump back in the garage, wrap up this video. Well guys, I think the rest of this review pretty much speaks for itself. I'm a huge fan of the Mantis X. I think Rawrr stepped up their game big time with this model, and for under $3,000, I think it's an awesome buy. At that price point, I think they really knocked it out of the park with the power and performance and overall feel of the bike when you ride it. So if you guys are interested in purchasing one, check the link down in the video description. We appreciate you guys watching. Please hit that subscribe button if you enjoy this video. It really helps out our channel. If you haven't already, it is almost too late to enter to win that brand new Talaria Sting MX5 that we're giving away. Catch you guys next video. See ya.